Hey everyone, it's Joe and Isaias here from the Automator, and today we got a really interesting. Now we're I think ready to release this, but it's still going to be developed. I think a bit more.
Yeah.
But have you ever wanted a client of ours, AJ, had pinged me and he's like, "Hey, I bought a secondary keypad like this 10 key, and he wanted to be able to program it, but of course he has a 10 key on his keyboard like I do. Mine's a little dusty, but and he wants them to be independent, right? So he can detect whether I press it on one and the other. And he's like, "Do you have anything that does that?" And I said, "Well, we have this tool, which by the way, we'll also share in this release, where when I launch it, if I hit the numpad on my keyboard, this is my primary keypad. So it's a numpad 1, 2, 3. It's here. But if I take this one and I hit the same keys, it shows it can isolate them and show them that they're actually different." So
Right.
that was where I was like, let me talk to Isaias about how hard it would be to leverage this information and then say, hey, if it's on the right side here, if it's in red, actually launch something else versus if it's in blue, right? If you get my idea here, your primary versus your, and here's an important state that Isaias will explain: the last added keyboard, your keypad. Um, that's what's going on here. So
Right.
I'm going to stop sharing. Isaias can go ahead and start sharing, and he's going to walk through the tool we built to kind of do this. The great thing is, people, and I think I put it up, but I have an X22 keypad they're like $100 or more, right? And you can program them, but the point is, us using AutoHotKey, why would I want to spend all that money when for like $10 I can get one of these and I do the programming in AutoHotKey instead of this
Yes.
keyboard that's kind of
It would
annoying.
be very cheap instead of, and not only that, the programming that you get with those expensive ones
Very limited.
is either limited, right? You have a certain amount of actions, or they're not really easily compatible without a hotkey script. So you're like, okay. So in this case, what we're going to be doing is we are assuming that you know a little bit about programming. Okay. So you're going to be creating your own functions. The only thing that you're going to tell us is what is the name of that function. All right. And because of that, you have to understand a little bit how it works. But in your end, what we're doing is creating a little bit of a graphical user interface that makes it easy for you to generate this. And it will be a trigger for the last connected keypad. So if you have a normal keyboard and the keypad, and you connected the keypad last, that's what is going to trigger the actions. Be careful with that. I'm making that clarification there because I was really confused when some things were not working as I was expecting. And then we took a little time. Joe and I were looking at it and we're like, oh, it looks like it's just the last one. The last one that you connect, that's the one that is being, we probably at some point might take a little bit of more time to figure out how to identify each individual ones. But yeah.
By name, and then we can store it. So if you had
Right.
different ones, we can program. But for now, we're
For
just
now, we're just starting like that.
and
So
first
yeah,
off, sorry, let me back up. This is not simple stuff. It's not for the faint of heart. With this actual code that Isaias was working in was voodoo, as far as I'm concerned. It's not. It's deep.
let's say that you have a script that has multiple functions. It could be one, it could be 10. And you want to run this function with a hotkey. So another hotkey, you usually just simply assign a hotkey here, and that's it. So your F1 runs this function, and actually, let's put this in here. And F2 runs this function. But here's the problem. Well, what if that key, I want it to be the one on my external keypad? So it's not my normal hotkey. Well, many times those keypads use something like this, numpad 1 or numpad 2 in this case. Well, the problem with that is that AutoHotKey will detect these only on your main keyboard as a name. And if you press it on your keypad or your keyboard, in both cases, they will both launch these functions. What if you say, no, I don't want it to be launched in both keyboards. I only want it launched from the keypad. That's where this tool comes in very handy. So yeah, you will not be able to do it that way. That's not going to work. So what you're going to do is that you would run our tool. So the tool is just a small graphical interface like this, and you will press the hotkey on the keypad specifically. If you press the hotkey on the normal keyboard, this is not gonna actually do nothing. It's just you press it and nothing is gonna happen. But if you press it on the external keypad, the hotkey is gonna pop up in here. So let's say whatever the hotkey might be. So let's say numpad 1. Second part is that you have to name what is the function that you want to call. Well, I want to call the import function, right? So that's the one that I want to call. And third, you have to let me know where is the script where you want to make this happen, because this function needs to be defined somewhere. So you're going to tell me where did you define that function. So we're going to use the browse functionality. We're going to go to the desktop here. This is just a test script that I'm creating. I select that folder and that's it. We're going to create it. And this will input a piece of text on your clipboard, which is just a simple include. You see that? That's it. That's all you have to do. Interestingly enough, if we look at the file is a little bit more complicated, and that's what Joe was saying. Holy crap, there's a lot of things going on. But you will see down here where the numpad 1 is. This is the if statement that goes ahead and takes a look at my function. I already had some parentheses, it just added it. But it will take a look at the numpad. That's the one that looks at that and then calls the function that you defined. That's the reason why you have to go ahead and include that in here so you can see your function. But what if I want another one for the export? Now that you included this is great, because the next step, whenever you add more hotkeys to it, so let's say I want to add another one, let's say numpad 2 at this point, I will say export here, right? And at this point, I will also choose my script. That's where it is. And I hit create. After I do this, I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to touch the code. That's it. Why? Because the tool goes to that file, that keypad trigger, and modifies it for you, but you don't have to change anything else because you're just including that file. That's so simple. And when you look at the file, you will see that here at the top it said import, and here at the bottom it says export. And now I'm handling both of the hotkeys, the numpad 1, numpad 2. And basically, if you want to do this for other scripts with other functions, then of course you would just select them. And each script will have a copy of its own library. So if I do it for something else in here, then whatever I do here only affects that other script. So it's a great, simple tool. And I'm very surprised that we got to this point without too much hassle, because even like that, we spent almost like 4 hours, 3 hours dealing with certain problems. Whenever you grab the input yourself, you have to manage the input yourself. And that by itself is an annoying topic. So what we're trying to do is making it so simple for you that you just select, hit OK, and that's it.
But here's the thing. Can you share your screen again, Isaias, and go back to where the actual function gets inserted? And this is where, again, because this is early days, right? If you were to add this, I want to change what numpad 1 does, hey, you're going to have to manage that. You're going to have to go into that.
Right. You would have to go to the keypad trigger class or include file, and you would have to manually do this yourself, right?
Yeah. So
you would have to say, well, I don't want it to call the import. I actually wanted it to call the export here. Yeah. And I want this one to do the import. Yeah, I will have to do that manually myself. Or also, delete it. You can delete that. Yeah. And then just go back to the tool and do it manually, but perhaps, never, ever delete that.
Yeah, but also perhaps just to help people, we should have a start numpad 1 and numpad 1 section of whatever it is, because again, if people added another numpad 1 hotkey, not just the changing the function, but the hotkey itself, they need to understand what code to replace, right? So if we have a boundaries for them, make it easier, to understand, oh, this is where I'm grabbing, right? Like, I think that'll help. Yeah.
You're talking about like
Yeah.
having something where it starts here
Right.
and ends here, right? And
Yeah.
that's all for that particular
Because
hotkey. Sure.
someone might come in and delete line 21. They're like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
need that. No. You need to remove
No,
this.
you need it. Yeah, exactly. Right.
But
But in
again,
any case, this whole thing is like a unit.
yeah, that's right. And so again, we're not checking for are you an idiot? We're you might end up trying to put the thing in there multiple times, and that's going to cause issues. Maybe later we'll build a check to go look and see if it's mentioned. That's probably something you could do, Isaias. Before you add it, you can see if there's already that V key.
Right. If that VK is in the file, then I will not add it, or at least ask you.
Right.
You want to replace or you want to do this?
Right.
Maybe. That's something that we can work on.
Yeah. Again, if you want a secondary key, if you're running out of hotkeys, and the other one, which we haven't done either, is if you wanted to have a modifier key in combination with your, we don't have that built in as well, right?
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, not yet. But here's the other exciting news. Go ahead and bring up the GUI. Demonstrate real quickly the whole window hotkey.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. So the point is, yeah,
secondary keyboard.
Yeah. So basically, in other tools that where we have hotkeys, we have the issue that if you want to do the window key as a hotkey or as a modifier key, you can't, because the hotkey control itself, when you hit that key, it just simply opens the window menu, but it doesn't see it as a hotkey. That's basically what's going on. But in our case, if we are capturing the raw input, we can actually see it. And that's cool, because if we want to create a hotkey with a window key, we probably will be able to do it because we have access to it.
And correct me if I'm wrong on this. This is one from years. I've been talking to you about it. The standard hotkey control that AutoHotKey gives us to work with can't see those because that Windows key is done at such a low level. Is that right?
It is a special key. That is right.
And with this tool, we are intercepting the keyboard before OS sees it, right? Which is what's allowing us to do this really cool, fancy stuff.
That is correct. We are looking at it in a very interesting way before the operating system can actually capture or work with it. And we can then decide what to do with it. And in our case, we're deciding to put it in that little box whenever you press it. So that's in here, I'm just saying, hey, you know what? Whatever the user presses on the keyboard, I'm going to grab that, get the name, and put it in this box and nothing else. And because of that, when I press the window key, it shows up in here. I haven't seen, let me see which key might not be captured. I've seen, the Alt key. That's the only one that I noticed that I cannot actually find. Like when I press the Alt key, I don't see it there. For all the others, I can see them. Even the Shift and the Tab and the Caps Lock, those are special files that usually they don't show up in the hotkey control. But in this one, the one that is missing is the Alt key, not the window key.
That's insert and delete.
Enter is there, delete is there.
Insert, even though we
insert is there, yeah. Pause, scroll lock. Yeah. Oh, you see the screenshot one, the print screen.
Yeah.
That one is being hijacked by Windows before I get it. So this one, I pressed it and it took the other tool to take a screenshot with, right? So that one is being hijacked even before I see it. That's insane. I don't know how that is done. But yeah, that's a crazy one. After that, like even the num lock, look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see the num lock and everything in here, right? So again, we are having some very low level access. The fact that this other tool has more access than the raw access is insane. and the old key not showing up is those are the only two that I see that are strange that I cannot access. After that, I can access everything.
Yeah.
So yeah,
enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and we'll put the URL where you can grab this. Of course, there's going to be a fee to it, but and it's early days. But like you said, we spent at least 4 hours on that alone, and the stuff adds up in time. So every little bit you guys contribute helps. Like the video if you learned something here and found this. I found this fascinating. I think this is a great thing, and especially with that future ability to be able to have a better hotkey, watchdog to say I want to use a certain hotkey as a trigger, because that there are certain keys, like even the special keys on your mouse or something too. Maybe we can find a way to better capture different buttons that we normally can figure out a way, but they're trickier, right? This might make it simplify it. So thanks for watching. Cheers.
Bye, guys.